Hello everyone, my name is Jawahar Malhotra and I'm here to do another interview of the Oral History Project for the Foundation for Indian Studies that's been going on for the past decade almost. Today I'm here with Mrs. Kanwal Bhalla, and we're seated in her lovely living room in Sugarland, which is outside of Houston. And Mrs. Bhalla has been in the Sugarland area in Houston actually for how long? For about 10 years or so? Or more longer, right?
It's going to be 24 now.
Oh my gosh, how time flies. So, what brought you here, Kanwalji?
To Houston?
Yes.
Raj's job.
Oh, your husband's job?
Yes.
Dr. Bhalla.
Dr.
Right. And you moved here from New York, right?
Long Island, New York.
Long Island. And you were in Long Island for a long time, weren't you?
18 years.
Oh my gosh, wow. Now, you had a very interesting time in Long Island. You were just telling me a little while ago that you had a restaurant there?
Yes.
What was the name of the restaurant?
Kanwal Bhalla's Cuisine of India.
Wow, and what kind of cuisine was it?
It was a Mughlai cuisine.
And what did you do with this restaurant?
I managed it.
You managed it? Were you the chef also? No, you had chefs?
I was there to help them whenever needed, but no, I had a chef.
Oh, I see, I see. So the restaurant was your idea?
Mostly, yes.
Really? I
Raj
see.
wasn't very keen, but we said we'll do it.
So,
Because Raj's younger brother
uh-huh.
had opened a restaurant in Los Angeles in
Uh-huh.
1972.
Oh, I see.
So we thought, as I was not doing a job or anything, so I wanted to do something. And we thought, well, it's a good idea. And I had actually worked in Delhi in a Ashoka hotel
I see.
for 7 years.
Really?
Although I was not in the food and beverage, I was working in the public areas,
I see.
public areas. And so this was a little bit of there, you know.
Ah,
And then I thought, well, let's try it.
wow.
So it worked.
So Paul is,
Paul is the middle name of all these three brothers.
oh, I see.
So-
Dr. Bhalla is Raj, and then,
Rajendra Paul Bhalla. The younger one who had the restaurant is Jatinder Paul Bhalla. So that's why he chose the name Paul.
oh, I see.
So he had the same name.
Uh-huh.
And then we thought we'll carry that name, and we carried some of the recipes also. But we changed it a little bit.
Oh, I see.
And it worked very well and very favorite with the local Americans.
So where was it? In Long Island?
Manhasset, town of Manhasset in Long Island.
Oh, I see. Did you enjoy this?
Yeah, it was fun in the beginning, but later on one gets tired.
A lot of work, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of
business. But that's really not your background. Your background was history, from what you were telling me.
Yes.
So how did you go to history? So you have a degree in history. You were telling me you have a bachelor's in history honors
Honors.
from,
Delhi University.
I see, and then you went on for a master's.
Masters.
But you also said you never used the degrees.
Not in India.
Not in
But here, when we were in Long Island, I actually wanted to go for doctorate.
Oh, I see.
So I went to the university known as CW Post, which is in Long Island, and I met a professor who was from Pakistan, and very nice person, and he was in that department. Number 2, not the head, but so I said, he says, well, we need somebody, why don't you teach? I said, I have never taught because I have done it, but after
Right.
that, I'm out of touch. He says, don't worry, I'll help you. So finally, kind of, I said, okay. And I taught 2 semesters, the undergraduate, the international relations, because that was one of my papers when I did my master's.
I see.
And then what they did, because it's a private university, so what they did, they gave me adult education classes in the evening. So I did 1 semester. Next semester, it was, winter, very icy. I drove, I almost died. I was feeling so badly. And I told them, I said, either you give me the morning classes or that's it.
Yes,
So
I see.
that,
So this was before the restaurant?
oh, much before.
Right. Okay. Yeah, well, living in the Northeast can be treacherous in the wintertime.
It is.
Yeah.
It is treacherous.
But you spent a long time in the Northeast.
Because you see, Raj, got the job we were still in Delhi when he got the job. And the company was located in Long Island.
I see. And, so about 15 years you said in Long Island?
18 years.
18 years, wow. So, but Dr. Bhalla, your husband, is a veterinarian.
He's a veterinarian, but he was with a company who were doing research, and they are actually lab animals. That's what they were doing. So obviously being a veterinarian, he was there, and they were conditioning them for research, then selling them all over the world.
So this was after he had served many years in the Indian Army,
he
right?
He served 20 years in the Indian Army. And he retired, took a premature retirement as a colonel. And then, of course, we were in Delhi a few years after that. And somehow, destiny.
So I know I'm going backward to...
That's okay.
but it's kind of interesting how you got here. So you actually you were telling me you worked in the hospitality industry for 7 years.
Yes.
This is after he took his premature retirement?
Before.
I see. So your background, family background, you were born in British-occupied India.
Yes.
In 1936. And where was this?
It's a town called Jawahar, which is about 20 miles or 22 miles from Lahore.
I see.
So that's where I was born, and I was in my 11th year in 1947 when the partition took place, and my family moved to Delhi. So rest of my growing up and education was in Delhi.
I see. So 1936, and you were 11 years old.
Yeah.
So
see, I'm a December born, so I was going to be 11 in December.
Yes, right. And then do you have memories of that time?
Yes,
it was very turbulent.
I know. I was not there in person because it was summertime, and every summer when the school was off for summer vacations, we would go to the hill station.
You're talking about it in August when this happened?
Yeah, before this thing happened. So we were in Shimla. And vacationing kind of thing. But this thing was going on. I mean, as a child, I didn't understand at that time, but it was going on.
But you heard your elders talk about...
This is what exactly I was going to tell you, because I was not there. But my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, they were there. And it was a devastating experience.
Right.
Because when this thing took place, there was a migration like millions and millions. I mean, there were a number also, 15 or 16 million people.
Right.
Outside moved,
Moved.
And people had to just run for their lives.
So, how did it affect your family at that time? Did they lose everything?
They did, almost. Because my family, I come from a landowning family. And then different businesses afterwards. And what happened that one of my grandmother's nephew was in the Delhi government at that time. And he insisted and told my grandfather to transfer some money. And you can always bring it back if nothing happens, but if something happens, at least you will have something. So first he didn't pay any attention, but I believe I was told by my grandmother that just a week before this whole thing took place, he transferred that money to Delhi Bank.
I see.
And not trying to brag, but that is the truth. It was 7 lakhs of rupees.
At that time, which was an enormous amount of money.
So, because we had different businesses in landowning family, and it was a drastic change in our lifestyle.
Sure,
to be honest with you, that's what it was. And it took us a little while to get adjusted to it, but we were very luckier than millions of them who just left in 3 clothes. They didn't have anything.
And many of them, of course, they lost their possessions and lost their lives.
Lives also.
Did you have any members?
Yes, I lost my uncle because he was not 100% little bit. So when they were running, trying to hide into the villages, he didn't want to go.
Oh.
And he started shouting. And then my grandmother had to leave. So then we were told later on that he was shot.
Oh my gosh! Such a
I know.
Such a turbulent time. so violent, so much violence, so much hatred and religious strife. Huh?
Yeah. And for a young person like me who remembers a little bit, and still it was really, and not being there even, but what was told, it was really
yes,
very, very hard.
Right, right. So do you come from a large family?
Yeah, you can say that. I had 2 uncles, 3, 4 aunts, and my father, of course.
And you siblings?
I have 4, but I just lost one brother last month.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We are 3 now. Yes.
It's so sad.
I am the eldest. So.
I see. And then you came to Delhi, and the rest of your education, all of that was in Delhi.
In Delhi.
Which part of Delhi did you go to?
When we came, there were government quarters, Lodi colony.
Yes.
And they were all locked because some of the British government servants had left India. So we had no place.
Right.
So when we came from Simla, so my father's cousins, they were there before us. So they had actually broken some locks and taken some flats.
Oh, commandeered some. Yeah.
Because the government was not doing anything.
Yeah, this is what happened to a lot of
I think it was too quick also because they were also not prepared because nobody expected what happened.
Right.
I mean, migration probably was, but nothing what happened other than that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, this is what happened. So we came. It was a 2-room flat.
Yes.
1 big room, 1 small room.
Uh-huh.
And my aunt, my uncle, my grandfather, my grandmother were in 1 room, and 4 of us and my parents, we were in another room.
Wow.
So coming from a big bungalow for 15, 16 rooms, this is how we landed in.
So about 10 people in a 2-room flat.
And no beds, nothing, no electricity. I mean, electricity was there, but they'll cut it off many times because they wanted us to vacate those things.
Right. Also, water was also a problem.
Oh yeah, they were doing anything.
Yes. Yeah. And was your husband, Mr. Bhalla's family also from?
No, he's from Firozpur.
Oh, he's
lucky. He's just the border town.
Just the border town. I see. So, but his family stayed in Firozpur.
Yeah.
See. So, how did you meet? It was an arranged marriage.
100% arranged. We just met through the family because his sister, who's actually younger to him, was married to one of my father's friends.
Oh, I see.
Who was much younger than my father, but he was a friend and he was bachelor still.
Oh, I see.
So, and my father knew him from Lahore because his business offices was in Lahore before partition. So he knew him from Lahore. So it was an uncle for me at that time. So then my sister-in-law got married to him. And I came to know her, and we were visiting. They were visiting us. So she is the one who started this whole thing.
Ah, I see.
So this is how that thing was.
Well, so and you get married in Delhi.
Yes.
How many years has it been?
60.
60 years. Wow, that's splendid. So many. Very few people can lay claim to having been married for 60 years.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you have children. How many children do you have?
2 boys.
2 boys. Tell me a little bit about them. What are their names?
Older one is Gurpreet Singh Bhalla, and younger one is Narendra Bhalla. They both are physicians.
I see.
And they both are in Northeast right now. Older one in Pennsylvania, younger one also in Philadelphia, actually.
I see. And one of them teaches, is that right? Or is it research?
No, actually, he was in practice, the younger one, but he just stopped practicing and he is with the pharmaceutical company now, AstraZeneca.
Oh,
he's their medical director.
Oh, okay. And then you have grandchildren?
Yes, 3.
So tell me a little bit about them. What are their names?
One granddaughter, who's 26 years old, and she's working with Meditronics.
What's her name?
Sonia.
Okay.
And 2 grandsons, Ravi Bhalla, who is just graduated from Yale Law School in May, and the younger one is just in school.
Oh, I see.
So he's about, I think, in 7th grade.
And what's his name?
Ashton Bhalla.
Oh, I see.
Ashton Singh Bhalla.
So they come to visit you often.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And
Actually, we just had a family get together at Napa Valley in December. Yeah, we were there.
right. And so we moved from when you came from British occupied India to India, and then we've talked a little bit. We're going back and forth, but you in India you traveled quite a bit because of your husband's work.
Not really, because
he was in the army, so the army
was in the army, and only station I saw as an army wife was Bangalore.
Is that right?
Yeah, and that was his first posting after we got married. After that, we actually Raj had applied for a study leave, and he got the leave, and we came to States for 1 year.
Oh, I see.
In 1960.
How about that?
He did masters in veterinary medicine here, and I was just volunteering and having a good time. So we were here for a year, and then we went back in 61, and he got a posting in Delhi Army headquarters.
Oh, I see. So really, he was very fortunate.
Yeah, but no, he was going to the field areas in between.
In between.
It was not that Delhi all the time, but I stayed in Delhi because of the children's education.
Oh, I see. Because many other military families, they move out very often.
Most of them, but I don't know what to say, because he either was in Delhi in the Army headquarters or in the field.
I see.
And he had 2 postings in Kashmir. Actually, he was there when 71 war was there.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see.
And then he had 1 posting in the Northeast.
I see. Yeah. So your children they were born in Delhi?
They were born in Delhi.
And they went to school there, the high school and so on?
They went to modern school in Delhi.
Very nice school.
And
very prestigious school.
Yeah. Older one graduated from there, high secondary. But the younger one is 5 years younger. So he was in 7th grade when we moved to United States.
Oh, I see. And then
so his high school was here.
In New York, in Long Island.
Right.
I see. So now you've been here, and you've now become a Houstonian. You used to be a Delhiite.
Delhiite, Long Island, or New Yorker, whatever.
New Yorker, Long Islander.
Yeah, and then now Houston.
Yeah. So, and what brought you to Houston?
Raj's company moved from New York to Houston, and that's why.
Oh, I see. And then
his job brought us from Delhi to Long Island also. As I told you, he got the job sitting in Delhi.
Yeah.
And then because his younger brother was here before, and he had sponsored us. And we were just thinking.
Here meaning the U.S.
Yes. And we were just thinking, should we go, should we not go? And then finally we decided that Raj will go with the older son, and he can go to college there and get the green card, and he'll come back, and we'll see from there. But just as the destiny is, sitting in Delhi, he got the job.
Wow.
So we all moved.
He had a very good opportunity that he took advantage of, which is a great thing.
Really good.
And then they moved you here to Houston, and then he retired from that point on. And you've been in Houston ever since. So, and in fact, you've been a very big fixture of the Indian community in the Houston area.
Not me, it's him.
Well, both of you. Behind every man, there's a great lady. I see. What do you think? This is it's a typical immigrant story, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's the sort of thing that brought you here, and you have your children here, and he has his brothers. It's a very typical Indian story for a lot of the immigrants who've been here, and then and now it's your family's grown quite a bit, and your husband's brothers, they also have children.
Yes. Actually, only one brother is here, the younger one, and he had 3 kids, 1 son and 2 daughters. Unfortunately, he lost his son a few years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He has 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren.
I see.
5 grandchildren.
I see. And your family on your side, they didn't come?
One of my niece and 1 nephew.
They are
in California.
In California. How about that? So when you have a get together, it's
yeah, they are all actually Raj's special birthdays. They were all here.
Ah, yes. Okay, wonderful.
Big family reunion.
Wonderful, wonderful. So this particular interview is part of the Indo-American Oral History Project, and so in future generations, they'll be able to see this, they'll be able to hear this, they'll be able to know more about what motivated you to come here and so on. What would you tell those generations about? What kind of wisdom would you share? Would you say that this is that one should be open to with welcoming arms for people, so and give them a chance to make their lives and
Yes.
contribute?
Yes, I would.
And it has certainly worked in your family.
Yeah. You see, because when you leave your country of birth and you make a choice to come to another country, unless you come and start learning and mingling, then it's no fun.
Right.
So that's what I would say. But of course, our grandchildren are half American.
Right, of course.
All three of them. One is English, actually, the younger one.
Oh, I see.
So, anyhow, so that's what I'm saying, that when you come to a country where the old saying, when in Rome, do the Roman.
Right.
So, instead of being in your own cocoon all the time, if you come out, people are welcoming, and then if you also reciprocate the same way, I think it's much more beneficial to you also. And
Correct.
you feel much better and
Yes.
more settled.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and you can still bring in elements of your heritage and culture,
Of course.
but of course, it's up to the new generation to accept what they want.
Whatever. That's exactly, especially in our case, as they are half, and whatever they want to accept, fine. What they don't, we never forced it on them.
So basically, it's for the first generation of immigrants to adjust
Yeah.
to what happens and not necessarily have too many expectations. Because it's very difficult.
That's true. No, because moreover, with us, what happened, Jawahar, we were here for a year. We lived here for a year in 1960 to 61,
Right.
which gave us the exposure to this country a
Correct.
little bit. And being in India and knowing the English language also, and we were exposed to the Western culture, especially with me, because I had studied European history also.
Right.
So, and it was good for us also, and good for children also, because we could explain them better, knowing ourselves where we are going.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't know anything, it will be hard, and it will be kind of a shock to all of us.
Right.
But we knew we were here for a year. I ran the independent house, and we knew what this country was. Of course, it's nothing like that what it was right now.
It's changed
Sorry
a
to
lot.
say that. I'm really sorry, but
Yes.
we saw the most beautiful country and people
Right.
when we were here in 60. And let me tell you, we lived in an apartment on top of a bar. And I never locked my apartment.
Really?
Never did.
So it was very
was so good. It was
carefree.
literally what they used to say, land of milk and honey. That's what it was.
Wow. So everyone looked out for
That's
everyone
our experience.
else.
And people were so nice,
Yes.
so beautiful. And one family came so close to us, and they wanted to visit India. And we left in 61. They planned a visit in 62. But unfortunately, the gentleman passed away with his major heart attack. So
Right.
she just canceled. But she came in 63, all
I
by
see.
herself.
I see.
And we actually booked hotel for her, but she says, no, I want to stay with you in your house.
How about that?
So she stayed with us
Wonderful.
5 weeks.
Wow.
And then, of course, she kind of became another grandma to us. And then she came back again after 5 years and stayed 5 months
Wow.
in India, traveling, and with us in our house.
How about that? How
So,
fantastic.
See, this is how this was the kind of relationship, and we had that relationship till she passed away a few years ago.
Oh, I see.
She will visit New York when we moved here. I will go visit her. She came for weddings for both the sons. So
She became a member of your family.
Yeah, she did. And she met everybody, my father-in-law, everybody, and my family, largest family. And I mean, she didn't feel that she was an outsider, and we didn't feel she was an outsider.
And her life was enriched by the contact with you. So have your grandchildren visited India with you?
Yes, actually, both grandson and older ones, they both have gone. The grandson visited not with us, but with his parents, like son and daughter-in-law. And then, last time we were together at a wedding, we were all there. I think it was 2 years ago. Both of them decided to go on their own.
How about the backpacking?
Yes, they went. And of course, my granddaughter couldn't stay long because she's just started the work and she could only take 10 days off. But this guy was there for 3 months.
How about that?
And he traveled and he saw a lot of India because he says, so far I have just seen the family and I have been pampered. I want to see real India.
This is Ravi.
So he traveled and he was there 3 months and he enjoyed it.
Wow, yes, of course. Yeah. It's so easy to get over there and get around. It's not very, in my experience, it's not too dangerous to do that.
No, I don't think so. Because the only problem he had was the language, but still he managed. He managed very well. Yeah. So he went to Rishikesh, he went to Banaras.
Oh, how about that?
He went to Hardwar, he went to every place.
Wow,
of course, Golden Temple also. So.
Fascinating. Well, so thank you so much for sharing your life's voyage with...
Yeah, it's an interesting voyage.
Yes, it is.
Very good. Thank God for that.
Yeah, you've been blessed.
You really are. Thank you.
Thank you once again, and everyone who's been able to join us today and listen to Mrs. Kanwal Bhalla. She's given us a great opportunity to imagine what life was through this past 60 years.
Yeah, I should say that. Yes. I mean, life started before that. But
of course. No, but we've talked about a lot of things. So since 1936, of course. Yeah. But thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you, Jawahar. Thank you very much. And thank you, young boys, Joseph and Harshan.
Yeah, our cameramans. And goodbye.
Bye.